Thunder Bay City Councillors are joining the chorus of those upset about Ontario's plan for the LRCA. Good evening, I'm Haley Perreault alongside Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. City Council is drawing a hard line against the proposed merger of the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority with agencies in Southern Ontario.
The province plans to consolidate its 36 conservation authorities down to just 7. Councillors say local voices could be drowned out from more than 1,500 kilometers away. Jessica Clement reports.
City Council voted unanimously on Tuesday, opposing the province's plan to fold the LRCA into a new regional system with Southern Ontario communities called the Huron Superior Regional Conservation Authority.
This is just crazy town. This is not okay.
The plan is to cut Ontario's 36 conservation authorities down to just 7 under a new Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency.
The problems they wish to try to solve do not exist within the Lakehead Regional Conservation Area. In fact, we judge that the LRCA is highly effective and responsive to the city's needs.
Councillors are all on the same page, warning the move would dramatically reduce local oversight and decision-making.
Definitely alarm bells went off, and we should take this extremely serious. They want to tie us in, and decisions will be made for our city from 1,500 kilometers away. And that's shocking.
McIntyre Ward Councillor Albert Aiello says one of the biggest risks is to the McIntyre floodway, the system that protects Thunder Bay's downtown core.
There are other municipalities that also do floodways, conservation organizations that do floodways, that in the event something happened would affect a greater number of people. So now we sit back and wonder, well, where would Thunder Bay rank in all this?
Members also questioned whether Southern Ontario municipalities would share the same priorities as Northwestern Ontario.
The province tried doing this previously with health units, and we lobbied and we were able to maintain the Thunder Bay District Health Unit and not be amalgamated with other ones. So history shows that if we lobby properly, we can effect some change.
And I hope that MPP Vaugeois, MPP Holland, Rickford, and Mamakwa are listening to us, and I hope that they're listening to all the other municipalities that are passing this resolution.
City Council says they'll continue pressing the province to halt the merger and keep conservation decisions local. Members of the public are encouraged to submit comments to the Environmental Registry of Ontario posting, which has a deadline of December 22nd. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
And the issue did make its way to Queen's Park today. Local MPP Lise Vaugeois challenged the Ford government's Conservation Authority merger plan. Addressing the Environment Minister, she said the LRCA already does a great job managing the largest watershed in Ontario. Vaugeois believes merging our region with communities in the southern part of the province would amount to a red tape disaster.
They do an incredible job dealing with flood control, have a great organization, and issue permits within 5 days. The government has the absurd plan to merge the Lakehead Authority with the Lake Huron Authority, completely unconnected to our northern watershed and 1,600 kilometers away. Will the Premier stop this amalgamation and keep the LRCA as a standalone conservation authority?
I can assure this House that with our plan for the transformation of conservation authorities into several regional watershed-based authorities, no community will be left behind. What is not changing is the funding model. What is not changing is the municipal governance model. What is not changing is the ability to protect the core mandate, to pursue the core mandate. That means protecting people and property from natural hazards. That means flood prevention. That means the watershed protection that is essential. And that means sharing resources equally across Ontario. So just as no community currently served by a conservation authority will not continue to be served by a conservation authority, no community will be left behind, because we will have that sharing of resources, that sharing of technology, that updating of mapping, which is essential to to the fulfillment of the core mandate of conservation authorities.
The minister appears to be breaking something that isn't actually broken, certainly not in northwestern Ontario. Yeah. Our local communities contribute significantly to the management of our regional conservation authority. The government's plan will merge us with 80 other communities in southern Ontario. Talk about a red tape disaster and a crushing of local control. People in the north do not need anyone from southern Ontario telling us how to manage the place where we live.
Well, McCarthy went on to say that the current system isn't working across the province, but that his government will continue to consult Ontarians on the planned merger. Again, the province is accepting comments on the plan until December 22nd on the Environmental Registry of Ontario website.
The Ford government also came under fire for loaning money to Sault Ste. Marie's Algoma Steel, even though they knew that 1,000 employees would be laid off.
The opposition thinks that funding should have secured more job security for the workers. CTV's Siobhan Morris brings us that story and more from a fiery Queen's Park question period today.
It may be frosty outside Queen's Park, but inside the legislative chamber,
I'm going to start naming people.
The heat is cranked. The Ford government facing questions about the Skills Development Fund scandal and the layoff of 1,000 workers at Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie. Ontario loaned the company $100 million, knowing the pink slips were coming.
When is this Premier going to stop holding the line and fire his Minister of Labour?
Madam Speaker, the only person that should get a pink slip is the Leader of the Opposition.
A response the NDP leader calls dismissive and callous.
He's not taking it seriously. He's making jokes when we're talking about the misfortune of 1,000 people, right? A really devastating impact on a community and an industry.
Algoma's transitioning to a kind of steel production that doesn't require as many workers, a process sped up by crushing U.S. steel tariffs.
The $100 million loan that we invested kept them alive long enough now to fight the future.
The feds also offered $400 million in loans, with no sign of an end to tariffs.
We'll continue to monitor things to support the industries that are hit the most by these Section 232.
But opposition parties think the agreement with Algoma should have come with more.
If the government had actually talked to the workers, there could have been a transition plan in place.
A day after poor EQAO results were released and the Minister of Education launched a review of learning, a challenge of the Premier.
When are you going to stand up for kids? Get out of your seat. You fired thousands of teachers.
Doug Ford hit back with the number of schools closed and staff eliminated under the Liberal government. And then
we're actually teaching kids about STEM. You want to teach them about every wacko thing, left-wing radical thing?
The Liberals stress it's progressive Conservatives who've been in charge of education since 2018.
The math scores that you see, grade 6, grade 3, that's all on them.
The government's moving to accelerate 3 more bills through the legislature, including the Buy Ontario Act. There isn't a lot of time left for MPPs to weigh in, with only 4 days left in the legislative session. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Local police have charged a 27-year-old man with aggravated assault after a male victim was stabbed multiple times on Tuesday afternoon on Court Street. The 24-year-old victim was taken to hospital and is now in stable condition. The accused was also charged in connection with a Northside convenience store robbery that took place on November 25th. They remain in custody.
Thunder Bay Police say the implementation of the designated truck route has taken a lot of unnecessary transport traffic off of Dawson Road, but they've seen those numbers creep back up a bit in recent weeks. That's what led to an enforcement blitz last Friday, during which officers issued a dozen $110 tickets to drivers who were found to be in violation of the DTR. Inspector Gordon Snyder says the first goal is always to educate drivers about the bylaw, but enforcement will also continue for those who aren't getting the message.
Our goal is not to write tickets, our goal is to have a compliance. So initially when this first began, we saw a dramatic reduction in truck traffic, and I mean that reduction has continued. However, through our monitoring and review, we did see an uptick, and there was some truck traffic that started to continue, and this is from reports from the public as well. That we're starting to see volumes increase. So obviously that's something now where we have to step in to make sure that we correct that problem.
Snyder also wants to remind residents that not every transport that travels along Dawson Road is in violation of the bylaw, as deliveries are still allowed to businesses in the area.
For the second time in 3 days, Thunder Bay Fire Rescue was called to a fire in a travel trailer. The latest incident happened on Kingston Street around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Inspectors determined the flames originated in a wood-burning appliance inside the trailer. Fortunately, nobody was injured, but firefighters are urging people to exercise caution when using any supplemental heating sources.
Thunder Bay's Army Reserve units are trying to connect with the community and recruit more members.
That was the purpose of an open house at the O'Kelly Armory today. Residents were invited to take a closer look at how the military units and other emergency services operate. Jaden Billick was there.
Thunder Bay's Army Reserve units opened their armory doors, teaming up with local emergency services for a hands-on look at the people and equipment that keep our country safe. Max Curtis is a sergeant and a recruiting officer and says the joint open house served as a recruiting opportunity and an invitation to the public to speak with personnel to explore just what the job entails.
We're always looking to hire more people in the Canadian Armed Forces to expand our numbers. With the way the world's going today, it's always best to make sure we're prepared for the worst case scenario. I was deployed to long-term care centers when COVID happened, so we get to help out with domestic operations like forest fires or floods. You get to help out your community. Also, get to wear the uniform and sense of accomplishment.
Information booths from police and military recruiters line the armory, each showcasing the gear, training, and career paths behind their roles. And as part of the demonstrations, I even had the chance to fire a military standard rifle, guided of course step by step in a controlled environment by a soldier explaining how the weapon is safely operated. Curtis explains where to find more information and sign up to experience these potential career paths at a time where recruitment is needed.
You can come to here, the armories or the Naval Reserves, or you just go to www.forces.ca and you can browse all of our jobs, and they have a Join Now tab, and you just hit that. We tend to be out in the general public a lot, so we'll be at Con College when they have their career fairs, or Lakehead University. We also attend any other type of career fairs that are available locally.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
A new chapter in library fundraising began this week as volunteers moved their used bookstore from the Brody Library to Waverley. The Friends of the Thunder Bay Public Library are giving readers a chance to buy donated books at a discount while supporting local library programs. The shop opened on Monday and has already drawn steady interest from people looking for an affordable read and a way to give back to the Waverley facility.
So we've moved from Victoriaville to Brody, and it keeps on getting better, right? It's much more attractive. We were able to get new shelving in place. The library was really supportive in helping us have a bright, clean space, new flooring, new paints, and stuff like that. So we're able to up the quality of what we're having out for sale and stuff like that. So, and I think the volunteers that come in there are really enjoying this new space.
For a long time, the North Side hasn't really had a bookstore. You know, a lot of our used bookstores are more center or south, so it's a great portion or opportunity to have happening on this side of town.
The used bookstore is always looking for volunteers. Anyone who's interested can visit the Waverley Library for more information.
3 years after his twin brother went on an epic Jeopardy winning streak, Thunder Bay-born Ron Lalonde has now added to his family's win total on the iconic game show.
You had a great two-day run, but Ron Lalonde is now the second Lalonde to be a Jeopardy champion.
Lalonde, who's now a medical physicist in Pittsburgh, took home more than $15,000 on last night's show when he dethroned two-time champion Libby Jones. He was inspired to try out after his identical twin brother Ray won 13 times in a row on a memorable run that started back in December of 2022. Ron was able to pick up the big win with his family in the audience, including brother Ray. Ron Lalonde will now try to extend his winning streak this evening.
And it is a good day to stay inside and watch Jeopardy and any other game shows that you might want to watch. Fiona, it is a cold one out there. The wind has been howling.
Yes, this has definitely been quite the cold snap. Today we
did warm up somewhat, but last night was quite frigid. We had a low of -21 and wind chills of -30. That'll put some frost on you. We did warm up to -8, but that is still below normal for this time of year. Wind chills got as warm as -14, so definitely blustery, definitely cool. Winds were, however, from the southwest, so there's a potential for some warm up on the way. 5 to 23 kilometers an hour, and in the last few hours, gusting up to 41 km. Now, it's also been a bit of a situation of some snow moving back in. We've had a little bit around the lakeshore, but it's this system coming in from the west. It's rather large, but it's moving quickly. So it's kind of sweeping through. We are just on the cusp of it at this hour. We've had very cold temperatures last night throughout the region. In fact, wind chills were ranging from about -28 in Fort Frances all the way up to -34 early this morning in Greenstone, similar towards Red Lake. They've had snow and blowing snow this afternoon. They've currently got a temperature of -12 and a wind chill of -17. Little further south, Fort Frances had snow earlier. Right now, they're under cloudy skies, -11 and a wind chill of -19. In fact, if you ignore the temperatures and just focus on the wind chill, it's ranging from -17 to -19 this entire region. And yes, I am including Sault Ste. Marie and Wawa, usually much warmer, but today at this hour, they've got a wind chill of -18 in this region. They've had blustery, blowing snow and gusty winds all last night. Things have calmed down, but as they calm down, the temperature has certainly dropped. And as we head into tonight, well, as I said, here in Thunder Bay, we are just on the cusp of that system moving in. It could bring anywhere from 5 to 10 centimeters of snow over the next, we'll say, maybe 6 hours. It will continue until around midnight with winds gusting 20 to 40 km from the southwest. After midnight, the winds taper off, but then the temperature plummets. We're going to then drop down to a low of -16 and wind chills of -20. So tonight, it's not going to be bad temperature-wise this evening, but it might be bad snow-wise. In the overnight hours, the snow goes away, but then the temperatures plummet. So kind of pick your poison on this one. You might want to try to do a little bit of shoveling this evening to have less tomorrow. We're going to have to see how the temperatures work out, but it is going to improve after the system moves through.
Okay, well, that's good to hear that it will improve at some point.
Eventually.
Yeah, we'll just have to make our way through the next 12 to... Who knows how many hours? All right, thanks, Fiona.